I have a very, very strong sense from conversations and people that I've talked to. I feel like the Bengals, without a doubt, are actually planning to figure out the interior of the offensive line position in free agency. I think that they are going to try to add a veteran defensive tackle in free agency. And then I think that, in all likelihood, a pass rusher, right? A pass rusher in the draft might be what they're targeting. Now, I can see a world. I was told this: the Bengals really do like Walter Nolen. To what degree? I think that process is still sorting itself out. There's obviously a lot of prospects with a lot of questions. I saw somebody questioning, why don't the Bengals like Nick Scorton? I don't know where that report came from. The Bengals met with Nick Scorton. The Bengals also met with your guy, Jimmy, from Kentucky, Deion Walker. Had some productive conversations with him. But it feels like if Walter Nolen is on the board and one of those premium edge rushers on the board, it's going to be a conversation that needs to be had. Yeah. And it's going to go back to, did we correct the situation in free agency? Because I think the thing that's kind of getting lost in the whole conversation is they still are very excited about Chris Jenkins. They still are excited about McKinley Jackson. And those are guys that are still on the roster, right? But it's clear that there needs to be a veteran presence in there to a degree. As far as the edge rusher position goes, I like talking with Mike Green because I think the guy undoubtedly believes he's the best pass rusher in this draft class. He believes that when I asked him, I said, what makes you the best pass rusher? He said, the film. And, you turn it on and it's undeniable, right? He was very forthcoming. He said, if I got to work on anything, it's dropping back into coverage. James Pearce talked about what he had to work on. He said, hey, I got to work on my hands. He's got the athleticism. He's got the production. It's just crazy because James Pearce is a guy that early in the season, people thought could have been a top 10 pick, maybe a top 7 pick, top five at one point, right? Yeah. I mean, but I think it's a conversation that's going to be ongoing, that's going to be had. But I feel very, very strongly in saying the Bengals will be picking a defensive lineman. It really just depends how this shapes out, because if they get the guys that they might want in via free agency, right, whoever that might be, I have no idea who that might be. It feels as if that will open up the pathway for an edge rusher. Will that edge rusher be a Nick Scorton? Will that edge rusher be what's his name? James Pearce Jr. Will that edge rusher be a Mike Green? The conversations are going to continue to happen. But I also want to remind people, free agency is the first stop. What the Bengals do in free agency will tell us a lot about them. And talking with a lot of people are very excited about Al Golden. And we've kind of heard people talk about this already, but they said a lot of guys just always feels like he's prepared. They never felt like going into a game, they didn't know what their assignment was. He's over communicated, if that means anything. And when I look at it, I say, the Bengals are gonna have to go into this draft with clear intent. And it feels like everybody that they have met with so far, to Daniel's point that he alluded to earlier, it has been with clear intent. Nothing has just been, hey, let's just meet with guys because it's just the thing to do, so to speak. They haven't met with certain players that I thought they may have met with already. Those weren't the case, right? That wasn't the case. They didn't go out there and waste Jack Sawyer's time or waste a couple other people's time. But I was told very strongly the Bengals like Walter Nolen. And the last time I was told that was about the player, defensive tackle that got drafted by the Seattle Seahawks last year, Murphy. Byron Murphy, right? Coming out of Texas. And I told y'all when the following week after the combine, I said, I believe it's going to come down to defensive tackle and offensive tackle. The Bengals like the two defensive tackles. Obviously, Jerzon had the foot issue. Then Byron Murphy got picked right before the Bengals pick. I said, if they don't pick them, they're going to draft offensive tackle. I think that this is a meeting of the minds. It's going to come down to defensive tackle, interior, or defensive end. My bet is defensive end right now. Yeah, I always give a prediction at the combine week. My bet is going to be a defensive end. But I think if Walter Nolen is on the board, conversations will be had.